Hey everybody, this is Josh from MightyMeep.com. As you can see, we're going to take a look at Warmachine Tactics, which is the digital recreation of the hit tabletop miniatures skirmishing game Warmachine, or Hordes, depending on, I guess, whatever flavor of the game that you prefer. This is actually my second attempt at recording this video because the first one just continually crashed over and over and over again, and it's just been a really frustrating mess. You also may notice that this game, at least from this main menu, looks like absolute ass. Yeah. God, that's so horrible. So the reason why is I had to turn the graphics setting all the way down low to record this. The game is in early access right now. A little context here. It's an early access beta. You can actually buy your way into it on Steam right now for $65. I highly recommend avoiding that right now. The game is kind of is a very buggy state and very unoptimized state, as you can tell. And the reason why it's so high is that because originally on the Kickstarter that funded this game, the cost to get into the early access portion was a $65 pledge level. So they wanted to keep it fair, which I get. Like, I have no qualms about that. It's just buyer beware. If you drop $65 to get into the early access, like, just be careful of what you're getting yourself into. The game, like I said, is very unoptimized. You need to have a pretty beefy gaming rig to run this, even at like high settings, even at medium, which I was running the game at, and the game runs pretty decent. Runs okay on my computer, even at like a medium graphics quality. But so my computer, just a little, to clue you in, my desktop is about 4 years old at this point, and it was pretty top of the line when it came out, or when I built it anyway. It still plays most new games around medium, medium settings, at pretty close to, I can average about 50, sometimes 60 frames per second. So just I'm used to, being able to still play most new games without any difficulty. And so the fact that I'm at the absolute minimum settings right now in the menu here, it's still kind of chugging. Shows you an idea of just how unoptimized the state of the game is right now. So once we actually get into the game, it's not going to look so bad. Most of your viewpoint is from a isometric top view, so you're not going to be really that close and see just the hideous lack of detail, and it's like a Nintendo 64 game. But yeah, so once we actually get in, it won't be so bad. But for whatever reason, I couldn't even record on the medium graphical settings. It was really bad. So this is second attempt at Warmachine Tactics. As you can see on the main menu here, you've got a couple of different options. You've got your single player, which is what we're mostly going to look at. You've got multiplayer, which has a couple of different maps right now. But from what I understand, you can only pretty much play as two different factions. You've got Signar, which is kind of like your typical humans, and then you've got, well, I guess, let me reword that. Signar is kind of like a combination between Space Marines and, like, America, I guess you could say. And the other faction is Kador, which is a very Russian-influenced faction. They've got the red, and they've got the big, fez, and I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the Warmachine universe a whole lot. I haven't played in a while, but I do own an army. The Protectorate of Menoth is my army of choice. They're kind of like the super religious, overly zealous types that rain fire down on everybody, which I can relate to. No, not really. So yeah, the game is very limited in what it provides, but if you want to sneak peek into what Warmachine Tactics will be, early access will give you some of that. But if you have never played Warmachine or you know nothing about it, I really recommend not spending the extra money to get into the early access. You're not going to really understand what's going on or what is happening or what you really should be doing, because there's not a lot of explanation given. You're just kind of dropped in and expected to kind of know it or figure it out. If you're experienced enough with Warmachine, you'll be able to pick up on the systems in place and be able to kind of figure out pretty quickly, I think, what you're supposed to be doing. The tutorial video is literally just a link to a YouTube video. So when you click on that, it'll open up your browser and take you to a YouTube video on how to play the game, which is cool, I guess. Like I don't know. I really hope that they put in a genuine tutorial. I haven't really checked or dug too deep into that to find out if that's something on the list. So I have my fingers crossed that this time we're going to be successful and we're going to be able to play with no problem. So let's dive into the single player. I'm going to show off a little bit of the game and kind of walk you through, I guess, what gameplay is like and, you know, how the game works. So if you're familiar with Warmachine already, just know that this is a simplified version of that system. It is not that same game system, you know, identical, you know, refurbished or whatever, you know, to an exact degree. Like, it is very much a simplification. There's no hitboxes for like warjacks. You, instead of, you know, different systems shutting down as they take damage, like, you just have general health. Once that's gone, they're destroyed. So there's no like disabling certain parts, like disabling their arm or whatever. None of that is in the game. So if you really like that level of detail, you may be a little disappointed, but it's a little bit more of a straightforward tactical turn-based combat game, similar to like XCOM or Final Fantasy Tactics, I guess, though not quite as nuanced, I suppose. So when you first dive into the game, I'm in control of this Signar army down here. During the deployment phase, I can click on a unit and I can reposition, you know, wherever I want them to start at, and by right-clicking, I place them. Doesn't really matter too much. And on the right here, it shows you all my different units that I have. Oh, and there it crashed again. Oh boy. So yeah, so this is gonna be another fun mess. So the game has been really, really buggy. It's been pretty difficult to keep it, you know, consistently running. I've yet to beat the single-player mission. There's only the one, and I've yet to even finish it because I get close, and then the game usually crashes on me, which is super fun. Again, it's not a bad game, but, I mean, it's really frustrating if you are trying to show the game off, or, you know, something like that. So let's try this again. And then if I can't get any further, we'll see if maybe multiplayer is a little more promising. But I'm not holding out hope. So let's just skip the deployment phase. We're done with that. And no, okay. As soon as we even try. So apparently, like, the game is just so unoptimized that even at the lowest settings possible, trying to record a video and run the game is just too much for it to handle. It's, yeah. Fantastic. So, let's see if multiplayer fares any better. Alright, well, let's see. The Maxis. We'll attempt to join. Let's see what happens. I'm not holding out any hope that this game will not just totally biff it on me in the middle of a match. And I've yet to even play the multiplayer yet, so connection has been lost. Great. Let's try again. Let's join a match. The Max is still okay. It's the only game available. I don't think it's gonna connect again. Yeah. It's. Oh nope. I got it really excited there for a second. Okay. Well, so let's try. I'm gonna do single player one more time. It seems that whenever we get to the upkeep phase at the beginning of a player's turn, it's when things keep crashing. So let's see if I can maybe skip through that real quickly and get to an actual turn, and then maybe the control phase. There we go. So now that we're actually past that, maybe it'll be better. I didn't get to allocate any focus to my warjacks, which is too bad. So every unit on the left hand, you can see that, you know, they have actions waiting. So if by clicking on one, I can see her movement. So by moving within the blue area that you see here, that means that I can move their distance. I can move up to, you know, their whatever movement speed is, and then carry out an action. If I move beyond the blue, then they are, I guess, considered running, as what the term is in the game, and then you can't do anything else. So if you want to attack, you need to stay within the blue control area. So one of the nice things about the game is that when you move, before you actually commit to moving, you can actually see what units are in your range. So say if I want to move here, I have 2 units, which you can see I have shotguns over their head. I have 2 units within firing range. If I move here, I still only have 1, and so on. So that's kind of nice. It's one of the really kind of cool things about the game. I'm going to advance, because this is so the object of the game, getting a little ahead of myself here. Now the game is actually working. It's, oh boy, I'm so excited. Object of the game is that you were trying to defeat your enemy's Warcaster, which is the unit that I'm currently manipulating right now. So each army has their own Warcaster that's controlling essentially the commander of the battlefield. By taking out their Warcaster, you win the game. So I don't want to throw her right into the thick of battle. And we crashed again. So I don't want to throw my Warcaster into the thick of battle, and then she just gets pummeled. It is turn-based, so all of your units get to act, and then all of the enemy's units get to act. So you do take turns, activating all of your units one at a time. Some units are ranged, some are melee, and all that stuff. I can just pretend that I'm playing and just narrate, I guess, what the game is like. Yeah. So let's try one more time. Maybe I spent too long. Let's just start flying through. See if I can just get through a couple of turns here before things go to hell again. All right. Yes, we're done in control phase. I'm going to move to there. All right. So, oh, nope. Didn't like that either. Well, so you saw that she moved, which is kind of cool, right? So the unit moved when I told it to. Pretty nifty. So a unit has a couple of different stats. For their attack, you have a mat, which is your melee attack, and a rat, which is a ranged attack. I know, funny names. So in order to actually hit, you compare. So the way the typical the tabletop game works is that you roll 2d6 or 2 6-sided die, I should say, for those that maybe not savvy to the gaming lexicon. You roll 2 6-sided dice, and you add your rat or mat score depending on what kind of attack you're doing. Then you compare that result to your enemy's defense. If it equals or exceeds, then the attack was successful. Then you roll again, and you are rolling the damage for that weapon, and then you comparing that total to the enemy's armor. So you may hit, but if you don't exceed their armor, you actually end up doing no damage to them. Or, if you hit, you roll and you can completely do a shit ton of damage. So those are the primary things. The game handles all that, behind the scenes. So there's no, you don't see any of the random number generator. You just tell it to attack. It gives you a percentile odds of your success, and then you say okay, and then it'll attack. So it's pretty straightforward. So what would have happened there is I would have moved up, said range attack on that one unit that was in my range, and then it would say, I think she's typically, has around like a 67-70% success rate. I'd say okay, and then it would say she would fire, and it would either hit or miss and then do damage. So it's all very quick. One of the confusing things about the game is that one of the options that is turned off by default is that it doesn't actually follow a unit's action as it's being carried out, which on your own turn is not a big deal because you know exactly what unit you're controlling and what they're doing. But when an enemy goes, the camera doesn't really follow what enemy what enemy unit is carrying out their action at any given moment. So you can be kind of confused and like, oh wait, what happened? Like, why am I down like 7 hit points on that unit now, and not really know because you didn't see it. So there is an option in the game menu that is turned off by default that you'll want to turn on, that will actually follow each unit's action that's being carried out, which is much more helpful. Like, I think that should be on by default personally, but yeah, it makes the game a lot more manageable to follow especially when you're trying to figure out like what the hell just happened, like why is my guy dead now? Like I didn't see anything. So it makes it a little bit more cinematic too, kind of like XCOM, you know. So the game is supposed to come out in August, which is next month. We will see if that is the case. It's got a long ways to go, I feel, in terms of optimization and stability. I really hope that they can get it together. The game, when it actually runs, is pretty fun. It's not bad. I just, at the moment, it needs some fine touches. So, anyway, I guess that was Warmachine Tactics. I guess I don't really know. Sorry about that. I was hoping I could provide you a better look at the game, but that's about as good as we're going to get, unfortunately. So, until next time. I guess enjoy.